Radhe Radhe, Saturday, November 12th, 2022. Today, Mummy and I are here to present our recap video for our Bhagavad Gita recitation session for chapter 2, in which we covered chapter 2, verses 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So here with me is Mummy as well before we present some slides.
Radhe Radhe, everybody.
Up on the screen now, as everybody can momentarily see, again, chapter 2, verses 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. First, we shall hear one round of recitation for all of them.
Chapter 2, verse 16. Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayorapi drishtontaha, tvanyostattvadarshibhihi, avinashitu tadvidhi, yena sarvam idam tatam, vinasham avyayasyasya, na kaschit kartum arhati, antavant ime deha, nityasyokta sharirinaha, anashino prameyasya, tasmadyudyasva bharata, ya enam veti hantaram, yaschainam manyate hatam, ubhau tau na vijanito, nayam hanti na hanyate, na jayate mriyate va kadachi, nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyaha, ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano, na hanyate hanyamane sharire.
So let's learn just a little bit about all these 5 verses. Chapter 2, verse 16, catchphrase mit, ya, as a question, because in this verse, in the commentary, we learn about the terms Sat, Chit, Anand. We've talked about those at length before in terms of being eternal, absolutely true always, and that infinite ocean of bliss and happiness. And there's often a confusion. There's a Sanskrit word mithya, and often some people think that the world is non-existent. It is mithya, or maybe a figment of one's imagination. But that is indeed not true. It is existent. Maya is Sat. The world is temporary, so it's asat, but it exists. And so therefore the analogy or examples given by Swamiji are that even God-realized saints, for them the world exists. They still in fact write books, they still need and use pen and paper, and they eat food. So here we learn again about Sat, Chit, Anand. Chapter 2, verse 17, concept of the indestructibility of the soul. Destroy me not is the catchphrase, sort of like the plant, touch me not. So here the soul, we have learned now that it is imperishable and it cannot be destroyed. The body, of course, is temporary, but the soul continues. And one often then wonders, how does the soul provide that embodiment, the consciousness that is then in the body? So the examples given in the commentary, very lovely, are related to sandalwood and the fragrance of flowers. So we encourage you to take a look. Sandalwood, you put just a little bit on your forehead and it cools the entire body. Likewise, the soul does that for our body. And the soul permeates or pervades the entire body, just as we have the fragrance of flowers. In a garden, you walk by and that fragrance is everywhere, even though the flower is localized to where it and its stem is. Chapter 2, verse 18, question, illegible expiry date. So we often wonder, when you go to a grocery store, what is or where is that expiry date for a product you're trying to buy, an edible item? Many times you can't see it. It's blended because of small font size or the same color as the label. But here we now again are learning from Sri Krishna. The body, yes, it has an expiry date. The soul, however, does not. the soul is always existent. Once it's there, it never ceases to be. It is always permanent. So we continue to learn more and more attributes of the soul in contrast with the body. Chapter 2, verse 19, again talking about consciousness. So sentient nescience. Here we're talking also about ignorance or nescience as the opposite of knowledge. And so it is this illusion that we have because we have misidentified ourselves with the body. Swamiji has given in the commentary this example from the Ramayana that in your sleep, if you are dreaming about your head getting cut off, then that pain is going to torment you until you wake up and rouse yourself from that dream and, break your sleep. Likewise, if we continue to identify ourselves as or with the body, we're not going to recognize the permanence of the soul. And so that fear of death is always going to be there. It is an illusion we get out of with divine knowledge from Sri Krishna, from a guru, from the scriptures that helps us get past this illusion. And finally, chapter 2, verse 20, ageless adage. Again, Sri Krishna says the soul has no death. It is not going to slay or be slain, and it is permanent. So again, there is the infiniteness of the age, the duration, or the length of the soul. And it's not just an adage in terms of, a moral story. It is actually the absolute truth. So we're continuing to see more and more of that. And that helps summarize all the descriptions or the attributes we have now learned about the soul. It doesn't go through the 6 processes of transformation that the body does, such as existence in the womb, birth, procreation, growth, diminution, and then death. The soul is permanent. It's a tiny part, tiny fragment of God, the super soul, but nonetheless, it is always going to be there. We'll now discuss and see a few Sanskrit words.
So let me talk about the first word from verse number 16. Let's look at asataha. Asataha means that we are talking about the temporary. This world is temporary. Next word we will look at from verse number 17 is avinashi. Avinashi means indestructible. Something which can be destroyed. Then verse number 18, let's look at anashinaha. Anashinaha means something which cannot be destroyed, indestructible. Then verse number 19, how do we understand all these things? We understand by vijanitaha. Vijanitaha means when we are in knowledge, when we read the scriptures and get the right knowledge, then we understand what is temporary and what is not temporary. And so last one, we are going to look at the word shashvataha. Shashvataha means that is immortal, and that is the soul, that is the self, which is immortal. It is eternal. It is the truth, which remains always the same. So let's recite the verses once again. Na asato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayor api drishtontah, त्वन्योस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वम् इदं ततं विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुम् अर्हति अन्तवन्त इमे देहा नित्यस्योक्तः शरीरिणः अनाशिनो प्रमेयस्य तस्माद्युध्यस्व भारत य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् Ubhau tau na vijanito, nayam hanti na hanyate, na jayate mriyate va kadachit, nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha, ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So, as you all have noticed, that 4 of the verses were in the normal shloka, whereby 32 syllables total, and that's why they are sung in Anustubh meter. And the last one, verse number 20, it has 44 syllables, so that's why we sung it in Tristubh meter. There is a little bit correction here, so just notice there is some printing correction. So we'll go by the words beneath. Can we see the words beneath, Gagan? Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. We will use the word kadachit, and the next word will use nayam. Na ayam. So not nyayam. So just make that little correction when you are singing along with my recitation. Otherwise, it's all good. Thank you very much. Hope that helps for all of you to revise whatever we did in the class. Thank you, Gagan.
Yeah, thank you, Mummy. And once again, happy learning, happy chanting and recitation. We look forward to meeting you all next week, Saturday, 19th November, 2022. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.